I'm Miko Halili, and welcome to The Score, where we tackle the hottest and trending topics in sports. After switching teams, Stanley Pringle finally made his Barangay Ginebra debut against the NLEX Road Warriors last Sunday, and Stan the Man did not disappoint as Ginebra cruised to victory, with Pringle adding another dimension to Barangay Ginebra's offense. Joining me today to discuss Stanley Pringle's impact on Barangay Ginebra and what he brings to the team, let's bring in Martin Javier and, of course, basketball legend Major Payne, Eric Menk. Hi, guys.
Hi.
Hey, Jeremix.
You know what's funny was it did not occur to me instantly that Stanley Pringle and Justin Brownlee would be teammates. When I was watching the game, and then it hit me, wait a minute, magkasama silang dalawa? How is that possible? I mean, Eric, so when you have a Brownlee and a Pringle, what does that do to a team?
Well, that's just going to be a really tough team to beat. Both those guys are electrifying playmakers, and Pringle adds to their backcourt, so they had to give up 3 players to get them. But I think Ginebra has so much talent, and they have so many franchise players now that it just makes them a better team.
I agree. And no yung ina-address na yung immediate problem para sa Ginebra, I think Coach Tim Cone commented that they're relying too much on Brownlee to begin the season. Adding Stanley Pringle here will give you an elite scorer in the league and will get off the load from Justin Brownlee. So si Brownlee ngayon, makapahinga siya. So he's gonna be fresh in the end game. He's not gonna have to. Tsaka may isa pang ball creator na mag-attract na attention ng defense. So I think it's gonna open things up for Ginebra.
Eric said that Ginebra now has several franchise players. I'm just curious, who are these franchise players that Ginebra has right now?
Well, you look at their backcourt. L.A. Tenorio's been there a long time. He's won multiple awards. Greg Slaughter's huge. Jepeth Aguilar. Scotty Thompson is a young and up-and-coming guy. So there's no excuse now. They have a champion coach. They have a champion import. Stanley Pringle has been one of the best, if not the best point guard in the league for the last few years. So they have no excuse not to win.
And win it all?
Yeah, they should win it all.
Okay.
They have the most, it's Emer San Miguel who has the most talented roster, in my opinion. And whatever excuse they had in the past, they don't have that anymore. They should win.
Why? What was the excuse before?
I don't think there should have been an excuse before, but let's just put an exclamation point on that with this trade that they made.
So, Martin, because they look really fast in Stanley's first game. I mean, they look real fast when you put in L.A., Stanley, and Scotty, and Brownlee, and Japeth on the floor at the same time. That's a fast lineup.
Very fast lineup. It's going to create a lot of problems. And also on the defensive end, these are very good defensive players and pieces. Despite losing Kevin Ferrer, Sol Mercado, Jervy Cruz, I think yung addition ng Stanley Pringle creates a lot of impact on both ends of the floor for Barangay Ginebra.
And I think it also gives them flexibility. You talk about their speed. They can play fast, but they also can slow it down and go bigger if they need to. So Stanley Pringle makes their faster lineup that much more lethal, but they can also do the old Tim Cone style and dump it inside and go with the big lineup as well. So it just adds to them another dimension and gives them just another weapon that I'm sure they're very happy to have.
Dami kasing pwedeng gawin ng Stanley Pringle. Dami siyang pwedeng gawin. Well, he's a scorer. He can play the fast game as well. So, if you're Coach Tim Cone, he had 16 points in his debut. At ang sinabi pa niya nung interview, hindi pa siya masyadong sanay dun sa system. It was a stellar debut for him, and playing alongside Justin Brownlee, good things are coming for Ginebra.
Okay, let's look at it in a different way. What problems, if any, can this present? Like what complications, what problems? Pringle, will he somehow create some sort of weakness in Ginebra's, whether offense or defense?
Well, he isn't known. He's a smaller player, so defensively maybe teams could single him out. But the way he plays a really unselfish style of play. I actually felt on his old team he could have took even more control than he did. But he really distributed the ball well, and I don't know really how it can be an issue. There's going to be a lot of egos there, but Tim Cone is a master of taming those egos and getting them to work together, and I think it's going to be the case again with him.
I think for me, they just sacrificed a little bit of the depth. Kasi you had Kevin Ferrer, you had Jervy Cruz, you had Sol Mercado, all with Ginebra. And you lose a legit wing in Kevin Ferrer and a big guy who can contribute a lot like Jervy Cruz. Feeling ko yun lang yung na-sacrifice, but I think he's very capable of making up for those. Yung parang, yung iniwan ng tatlong yun sa Ginebra.
What about losing Sol's maturity?
I think that's one thing that they lost. Saul's been a veteran of the league. Jervy Cruz is another veteran of the league. They definitely lose some depth, but Stanley Pringle isn't a young player either. He's played a number of years. He's played in other countries as well before he came to the Philippines. So losing Saul, I'm sure, was something that, and some leadership, was something that they didn't want to do, but they have LA Tenorio is a great leader. They have guys that have played there and have won championships before, so there's plenty of leadership on that roster.
And I think coming in, I like the mindset of Stanley Pringle because you got traded from your former team, and now there's a lot of pressure going into Ginebra because it's such a magnified franchise, very popular franchise. So I think coming in, Stanley has the right mindset here, and he can also get the leadership that Sol provides, given the time that they spent together.
Okay, let's go to the Northport side of the story here. Syempre, a lot of fans felt, they would say, lopsided, lugi Northport, kasi Stanley Pringle yan, and then para role players yung binigay, but those guys, Sol, Jervy, and Kevin, did not waste time in telling people, nope, Northport got what they needed. I don't know, Eric, if you also felt maybe at the start that, I don't know, did you feel it was a fair trade to begin with?
I thought it was, the thing that, I felt it was a fair trade. I think some people are going to be a little, they see how strong Ginebra is now with Stanley Pringle and the other talent that they have there. But I think Northport got 3 really good players. They got some experience. They got a good young player. So, and the thing was, Stanley Pringle wasn't playing a lot this conference. There was rumblings that maybe he wasn't happy there. So they got 3 players that are anxious to prove themselves on a new team. Again, it's a 3-for-1 trade, so they got people that are happy that are going to be there and they can produce for them right away.
And these are players na alam gamitin ni Coach Pido. So I think that you have to factor that in.
Yeah, Jervy's reunited with Coach Pido. Kevin is reunited with Coach Pido.
So I think their very first game, they flourished right away. They got into the system. So the familiarity is there. Siguro on paper, is a little bit parang may question mark dun kasi syempre Stanley, franchise player, star player, ipapalit mo dun sa hindi naman kasama lagi sa starting lineup ng Ginebra. But I think, given the history that they have with Coach Pido, I think they're gonna fit in perfectly with Northport.
I don't know if it's too early to tell, but did a team clearly win this trade, or everyone should be happy?
Well, I like to keep it positive. I think everyone should be happy.
You like keeping things positive?
Well, in this particular case, I like the 3 players that Northport got, but I think Ginebra is one of the favorites to win the championship. So if you win the title after this trade, Ginebra wins the trade. Right. So if somehow Northport can win a title before Ginebra, then they have an argument.
Or maybe they can meet each other in the playoffs. I think that would be fun. All right, when we return, we're not done with Martin and Eric. The NBA's free agency season is quickly heating up, and we'll talk about that when the score continues.